Alrighty, persuasive speaking. Alright, so we're getting started on the next few chapters in our textbook. We're going to start talking about persuasive speaking because our next speech is the persuasive speech. So what is persuasive speaking? Well, it's a way of speaking that aims to influence audience members' attitudes, beliefs, values, and or behavior by appealing to some combination of their needs, desires, interests, and even fears. So, persuasive speaking is trying to persuade people to either agree with your statement, to disagree with a different statement. You're trying to get them to think, feel, and do certain things. So, classical persuasive appeals, there's 3 of them. This comes from Aristotle's time. So we have logos, pathos, and ethos. Logos is the appeal to reason, so it is the logical. You can achieve this by having solid evidence and common sense reasoning on your topic. So you want to, if you are appealing to logos, you're going to want to have very clear evidence of why your claim is valid. And you're going to want to have reasoning that isn't like a fallacy sort of reasoning. It's a normal, common sense way of thinking and getting to the answer. For pathos, that is the appeal to emotion. So it's like the empathy. You can achieve appealing to pathos by using vivid imagery and shared values. So once you know your audience, you're going to want to have to, if you're appealing to pathos, you're going to want to find a shared value with you and your audience and use that to your benefit. There are some that are kind of natural for all humans. That would be, don't kill people. Don't be a murderer. I guess that's a kind of a shared value. Or maybe to be nice. It's a shared value. So you'd want to appeal to those sort of things. Using vivid imagery, it's like telling a story and would help you appeal to people's emotional part. It helps people get invested into what you're talking about if you have a vivid story along with it. And then ethos, that is appeal to character, so this is your ethic. You can achieve this by establishing your authority as a speaker using competence, moral character, and goodwill. So, competence is showing that you are able to speak on this topic, that you are smart and you are capable, and then that you have credibility to speak on this topic. Moral character would be maybe you tell a story saying about how, you have a high amount of morals, maybe give some example. And goodwill, a good way to establish goodwill with your audience is to smile at them. Goodwill is just, the perception of your audience thinking that you have their best interests in heart. Okay, so your persuasive speech. You're going to want it to be 6 to 8 minutes long. So our first speech was 3 to 5 minutes long. Our second speech was 5 to 7 minutes long. Now we're at 6 to 8 minutes long. As always, I give a 30-second grace period. So the minimum amount of time that you can have is 5 minutes, 30 seconds. The maximum amount of time is 8 minutes, 30 seconds. You're going to also have a minimum of 6 sources. So this includes, sources in your outline, but also verbally citing your sources as well. A lot of you guys did a great job with that. Just make sure you are verbally citing your sources in your speech. And then for this one, you must include a visual aid. It is part of the grade for this speech. Visual aid could be objects, presentation slides, a model. We talked about this last time, so you can refer back to our past lecture. But yeah, you have to have a visual aid as well. I really accidentally went too far. All right, and so choosing your topic, we have talked about this before. I want to reiterate it again. So your topic for your persuasive speech needs to be to create, or your purpose needs to be to create change. You are persuading people to create some sort of change, whether that's changing your audience members' behavior or their attitudes towards something. You want to create action. You want to, maybe change a policy, something like that. You want to influence the audience. So you want to be able to use your words to get the audience to want to create that change as well. And then if you're going to pick a topic such as drinking and driving, or texting and driving, abortion, gun rights, you have to have a unique approach to this new information, or using new information, because these topics are so overdone. And it really, I would prefer not to have these topics be done, just because you don't want to do anything too controversial, but also these are at least one person a semester does these. Pick something else. Your life is much more interesting than these few topics. If you really want to do these topics, you have to use new information and you have to take a unique approach. So, unique approach, let's say for abortion, your unique approach was that you want all babies that are born to be aborted. Not really a thing. That would be very unique, very violent as well, very controversial, and would never happen. But if you wanted to do gun rights and you want guns to have the right to vote, if that's how you to play on words for gun rights, well, you better have some good information on that. So you want to take a unique approach. You want to be different if you do these kinds of topics that are overdone. Hopefully that makes sense. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Move this. All right, so the hierarchy of needs is as you can see, a little triangle that goes from our most base needs to our most, I would say, privileged needs. So, we at least need the bottom ones, and as you go up, if you are lucky enough to fill these needs, you get to, but we still need these all as people. You would, my words, oh my goodness, to use this, why I'm talking about it, is that if you want to appeal to the needs of your audience members, you would use this. So don't talk about this in your speech, but when you are building it yourself, if you want to talk about how you want to end world hunger, which is also an overdone topic, that would be like a physiological need and maybe even a safety and security need. So you want to play on those needs. So you would be like, maybe as an attention getter, have any of you gone hungry for more than 3 days? That would be a good starter, good attention getter. You would be playing on it, and throughout your entire speech, you can play on people's need to have food, water, shelter, clothing, sleep. So going through these, physiological needs are our very base needs. This is like if we were cavemen and there were dinosaurs around, we would at least need these things to survive. So that's breathing, food, water, shelter, clothing, sleep. our very base selves, our like almost like animal needs. Then above that we have safety and security. So that is, things that help us feel safe, feel more secure. So that's going to be health, employment, property, family, social ability. So safety and security is going to be, what makes you comfortable. So we went from surviving, now we are comfortable. And then the third one in the middle is love and belonging. This is our a very strong need for humans, since we are like community-based creatures. So this is friendship, family, intimacy, sense of connection. I say we as humans. Maybe there's one or two people out there, but we, cannot live as hermits. We can't just be alone for a long period of time. I'm sure if you've ever, been a person that has lived alone, like I have before, you want to seek out connection, and you're like, oh, I'm at home by myself, it's so boring and lonely. These are the belonging, or these are the needs that we have that, preys on that loneliness. And then self-esteem, this is how you feel about yourself. So confidence, achievement, respect of others, and the need to be unique individual. So these all help you. These all help you feel like you. So we have our animal needs. We have the safety. Now we have our community. Then within our community, are ourself. We are an individual, and our self-esteem helps us feel that way. And then we have self-actualization needs. So this is the very top, pretty abstract kind of need. So this is morality, creativity, spontaneity, acceptance, experience, purpose, meaning, and inner potential. The self-actualization needs is what causes us to some of us look towards, maybe religion or spirituality or groups like, I don't know, like clubs and stuff like that. We want to, be accepted. Once we have our community and love and belonging, then that's our love and belonging needs met as a community. Then our self-esteem needs are met by being an individual within the community, and then our self-actualization needs are met by being accepted as that individual within the community and having that some sort of like potential to do stuff. So what you would ask yourself if you want to refer to this triangle or hierarchy of needs when you are doing your speech, which need are you trying to fill for your audience? Are you trying to fill their physiological, safety and security, love and belonging, self-esteem, self-actualization? Which one are you appealing to? What are you persuading people? What need do you want to fill? Things like that. Went over that. And then building your speech. So your argument needs to have the claim, the evidence, and the warrant. So these are three aspects that we need: claim, evidence, warrant for persuasive speech. The claim is what the speaker, you guys, wants to prove. So this is like your thesis. It's what you want to prove. What do you want people to believe? What do you want people to do? What action are you trying to get? Evidence, this validates the claim, creates credibility. So this is your sources, the 6 sources that you're going to have. That's the evidence. And then that would, obviously support your claim. And then warrant. This is reasons and justifications for why your evidence supports the claim. So these are the common sense reasons that I talked about earlier that you'll need to do. So we have the claim. This is what we want to, convince people of. Evidence, why that claim is valid. And then warrant is why the evidence is valid. Or why the evidence makes the claim valid, more like. So, as for claims, there are 3 different types of claims. The first one is claims of fact. A claim of fact is about the truth or falsity of a claim. So this is focusing on whether something is true or is false. So we're just, it's kind of a is or isn't kind of claim. Is something going to happen? Is something said it's going to happen, but it's not going to happen? An example of this is global warming is causing more extreme weather patterns. This would be a claim of fact because we are focusing on the truth of it. So you would be proving why global warming is causing more extreme weather patterns, if that's what you were doing. Then we have claims of value. This is about the worth, rightness, and morality of an idea or action. So is this action worth it? Is this action right? Is it moral? This addresses issues of judgment. An example of claim of value is any painting worth $100 million? If you want to make this a statement, you can say, no painting is worth $100 million. That's what you could do for a statement for that, because we don't need questions. So you would be talking about, if you said no painting is worth $100 million, you'd be talking about that it's not right to have paintings worth that much. It's not worth it. It's not moral to have paintings worth that much money. You would have to have then evidence to back that up. And then a claim of policy is about whether a specific course of action should or should not be taken. So it's quite literally like creating a policy, basically. There's three, I know it says tree, but it's three required components for a claim of policy. That is need, plan, practicality. So you need to say, this is what needs to happen. This is my plan to make that happen. And it is or is not practical. Those are the three things. An example, college should be free for all students. So that is your, need is to make college free for all students. Then you would need to say what plan you had and the practicality of it. So moving on to Monroe's motivated sequence. So we have 5 aspects of Monroe's motivated sequence. This sequence is to help guide you into making a strong persuasive claim and, how to get people to take action. So we have attention. This is get the audience's attention. You should already be doing this because we do attention getters. Need. Make the audience feel the need for change. Satisfaction. Satisfy the need for change by providing a solution to the issue. Visualization. Intensify the need for change by visualizing the benefits. And then lastly, action. Urge the audience to take action in support of the solution. So we are getting the audience's attention. We are telling them what the issue is and make them feel a need that something needs to change. Then once we tell them that something needs to change, then we give them that solution to make that change. And then you tell them about all the benefits that would come from doing that change so that they can visualize it. Then lastly, you tell people how to take action. So you make them, aware of some sort of need. You tell them how to fill that need, show them how good it would be to fill that need, and then tell them how to fill that need. How they can do it. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're going to want to avoid fallacies. This is a big part of persuasive speaking or argument making in general, because you don't want to make an invalid argument by doing it with a fallacy. It's also, not really ethical to use fallacies because they aren't really, you'll see, they aren't really good for making arguments. They can be a little manipulative. So a logical fallacy is either a false or incorrect statement or an invalid/deceptive line of thinking or reasoning. As I said, we are avoiding using fallacies because they are incorrect and unethical, because they're deceptive and they are just straight up wrong. So our first one is a red herring. A red herring fallacy introduces an irrelevant issue to divert the audience's attention. So if you're talking about one issue and then someone brings up, but what about this? That is a red herring. An example: it is ridiculous to worry about protecting the national parks from pollution when people have been killed by domestic terrorists. So you're talking about protecting national parks from pollution, and then someone else brings up something completely different, people being killed by domestic terrorists. Yeah. Ad hominem. This fallacy attacks the person rather than the issue in the dispute. An example: I can't support the representative's proposal for campaign finance reform. After all, he was kicked out of law school for cheating on an exam. So you're talking about a proposal for campaign finance reform, but someone brings up someone's, dirty past, I guess, to attack them, to divert people's attention from what's actually going on. You see this a lot in politics nowadays. Keeping it neutral on both sides. People attack each other's appearance, attacking each other's history, things like that aren't really relevant to the problems at hand that they talk about. But that is what an ad hominem is attacking a person by, their looks or beliefs or past, attacking a person instead of talking about the issue. An either-or fallacy, it forces the audience to choose between two alternatives when more than two alternatives exist. So it's like telling people your favorite color can only be red or blue. They can't be. You got plenty other colors to choose from. A good example of this is our school must either increase tuition or cut back on library services for students. So this person is saying that the cost of school has to go up, or that the services for students goes down. When instead they could probably, maybe cut some from sports programs, or cut a program, or cut something else rather than library services. A bandwagon fallacy is, it assumes that because something is popular, it is therefore good, correct, or desirable. Example: I don't see any reason to wear a helmet while riding a bike. Everyone bikes without wearing a helmet. So this person thinks that because, or is arguing that since everyone, it is popular to bike without wearing a helmet, it is good, or it is desirable to ride a bike without a helmet. They don't have to ride one because everyone else does it. Then slippery slope. This fallacy is about taking a first step that will lead to subsequent steps that cannot be prevented, when in fact that they probably can be prevented. An example is, if you don't bring your pencil to class, you can't take notes, so you will fail. Then when you fail, then you gotta drop out of school, which means that you'll never get a job. When you don't get a job, that means you'll be homeless. So because you didn't bring a pencil to class, you're gonna be homeless. It doesn't make sense, and there's plenty of different steps that you can take to prevent this from happening if you don't bring your pencil to class. So, all in all, it's good to learn about these kinds of fallacy type arguments so that you can avoid them. We do not want to be using them because they are incorrect and they are just very unethical to use. It's just it's as unethical as lying or being manipulative. And people who use fallacies to make their arguments are not smart enough or capable enough to create a very strong argument on their own. And I believe in all of you guys, and I think all of you guys are very smart and very capable, and I believe you guys can make a good argument, so we should be avoiding the fallacies.